She always gets blindsided in Scorsese movies. When he, Goodfellas, I mean, he literally walks in, he's like, wait, no. Also, did you see the new neighbors? And they're like, no, is somebody moved in? And they're like, oh, you'll know him when you see him, okay?
My favorite character in the Simpsons universe, Lisa. It used to be Bart when it initially started. Then it became, there was a Homer era for me.
Happened in the 90s.
It's the best gangster film of all time and the most widely loved. Like, even anybody loves Goodfellas.
Any and everyone and their
Everyone.
mom.
Everyone. It doesn't matter. Age range, new, old, white, black, woman, man, Zimzer. Everyone loves it.
Do women like Goodfellas?
Dude, Kendra immediately, like, we watched it once and she was like, she loves it. It's like one of those movies.
So
I used to like Casino more than Goodfellas. I don't know why. I think I just like De Niro and it's more De Niro heavy. But no, it's Casino is not as good as Goodfellas at all.
Yeah, that's blasphemous.
Yeah,
I mean, great movie though.
No, it's fantastic. Too long and just a little too much stuff that I didn't want to see, but one of the greatest endings of all time. Just Pesci getting fucking beaten the fuck up in that fucking cornfield by those dudes.
That made me sad. I don't like that for Joker.
Yeah, especially because he's watching his brother, Frankie.
Yeah.
Oh, Frankie. That's crazy, though. That movie, that's one of the movies where I was like, man, they just show you how quick you can be dead in a hole someplace. Because it's like within 5 minutes, they're naked in a hole dying. It's like, Jesus Christ. He's good at that.
Getting hit in the forehead with a paint can, I can deal with. I can manage.
Bad.
Yeah. And then possibly getting arrested afterwards. Yeah. But like beaten with a shovel to death? No, I don't.
Pesci always gets blindsided in Scorsese movies. When he, Goodfellas, I mean, he literally walks in, he's like, wait, no.
Yeah.
Sucks. He's just a live wire, dude. He can't, he's too much. And that's why he always gets killed. He's too much.
And even when he's doing too much, that's what we love about those characters, both of them.
You're gonna make me fucking poop your fucking eyeball out for goddamn fucking. I mean, dude, that's hilarious though that guy played the same character in two of the greatest gangster films, like not the same character type in two of the greatest gangster films of all time, R-rated, and then a PG-rated kids movie where, I mean, he might have taken Kevin McAllister down into that basement and popped his eyeball out if he got a hold of him, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, he had the animosity.
Nothing would thrill me more than to shoot you. I mean, he's just a cold-blooded badass, Steve.
In your lifetime, would you say you have consumed more South Park or Simpsons? A rough guesstimate.
Wow. It was real Simpsons heavy as a youngster because there was just that was like my world. But in terms of long term, I probably would veer into a South Park, but it's neck and neck.
Because those college years, we ate up some South Park. So, and it's like that's the reason I asked, because the Simpsons, they obviously have like a 6-7 year head start, and we were eating that up. But man, when South Park fully hit their stride, really when they first started in our high school years, I think we were eating that up, man.
And then, it was like that meme with that the guy's like looking back while his chick's outraged, where
Simpsons is right there.
Simpsons is with you being pissed off, but South Park, you're like, damn.
Yeah.
Dude, and especially, this is something that we've talked about. The DVD extras and the DVDs themselves of a South Park season came with some of the most funniest extra content. For a while, Trey and Matt would do like weird like side things. Like the one they just did like a weird like segment with a pig called Makin' Bacon with Macon, and they were just making bacon with a pig in the room and stuff. It was very bizarre but
Yeah.
hilarious. Yeah, dude, I got to say South Park, but it's like the narrowest of margins because if you think back to when we were a kid and watching The Simpsons, we
Yeah.
were watching new episodes and then we were watching the episodes in the afternoon ad nauseum,
True.
dude. I was just
True.
ingesting those things like a beer bong.
Yeah. I remember Kevin, my roommate, man, he had like classic Simpsons, like that Conan O'Brien era on VHS, back when people
Mm-hmm.
still like owned VCRs. And yeah, man, we watched the same episodes, man, and never got old.
Yeah, there was just there's some about the earliest seasons of The Simpsons, like when they figured out the look and everything, and it wasn't that weird, like first go at The Simpsons. That
Yeah.
yeah, it's so memorable. It's awesome, and they're both great shows. I mean, obviously, they're both still going in some capacity. I think is The Simpsons still going? It is.
Still going, man.
Jesus.
Where are we at? We're over 30 years, bro. 30 years of animation.
I wonder when it like because eventually AI is going to take over, Steve, and then it never has to stop because
Yeah.
it never sleeps. So I think it's going to be on its infinity seasons at this point.
And it's ironic, man. Both sitcoms or both shows, one of the creators is named Matt.
I mean, honestly, Steve, I understand it.
Y'all be doing shit.
I know. I can attest to that. But I mean, as far as the Simpsons go, I do think it's you never know when they'll stop. South Park, I think now I like what South Park's doing because I don't necessarily immediately watch it, but they're giving you targeted stuff every once in a while based off of like pop culture things. And I think they
Yeah.
are still doing seasons every once in a while, but it's not. I think eventually they'll stop. They've reached the mountaintop. They've won
Yeah.
Tonys. They've done all these crazy movies. They've had this show. They bought the real Casa Bonita in Denver and revamped that. So childhood dream checked off the list. I mean, I don't
Right.
really know what else to do at this point if I'm them.
Hey, man, you only get one life. Word to be rabbit.
Orgasmo 2, please.
Hey, boys and girls, this is Steve G and Mad G with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about what happened in the 90s. So get out your Captain Crunch and your Captain Planet, because happy birthday, Lisa! Lisa, it's your birthday! Happy birthday, Lisa! Lisa, it's your birthday! That's the only part I know.
Yeah, but there was some really good parts to that song, Steve. Did you know also, fun fact, Michael Jackson wrote the Bartman song.
I did know that.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. And it was a platinum hit, so
It's like Dream Team, man. Like you assemble that with that, and it's how can you lose?
I just love being so famous that you can call a show up and be like, I want to do a voice on your show. And they just figure it out. It's so awesome. But then there's the bad parts, which we can just sort of push into the closet.
Ah, here we go. It's coming. I know. Today, my friend, we're talking all things September 19th in the 90s. Starting off in 1990, Goodfellas premiered in theaters. The story of Henry Hill and his life in the mafia, covering his relationship with his wife Karen and the mob partners Jimmy Conway and Tommy DeVito. I'm still
Goodfellas is the best movie. It's just
trying.
the one that is the best. I
It's
mean, dude, I'm
start.
sorry.
It's top five, bro. This is top five for
Here's
me,
the
man.
thing. Gangster movies are tough because all the best ones, there's negative parts to it. Scarface, way too long. It's really not that good of a movie, but you just love it because of what it is and the quotables and stuff. Goodfellas, we were
Yeah,
discussing this, and maybe it was even being recorded and I just didn't notice. But to me, Scorsese wise, I think this is his best movie. This is my favorite Scorsese movie. It's tough.
easily.
I like Gangs of New York too. I'm weird. I really do like that movie. I like Casino, but I do think this is his best movie. I think
Yeah,
this is the best mob movie ever made. And as far as like Leota goes, this is his best movie. I gotta say, it's a lot of
Mhm.
bests. I think this is Pesci's best too. You
For
get all
sure.
the hits, the shine box, him blowing what's his face away, all that. And I have a fun fact about that scene too. But
How am
just
I funny?
overall, I mean, I you say top five.
Top five.
If we're talking gangster movies, this is number one. If we're talking movies, period, this might be in the top five for sure.
I look at it like that genre is one of my favorite genres. And what's the favorite of that genre? We both just admit Goodfellas. So it's like, yeah, you got to be in the top five just off that alone. I mean, Scarface, a close second. I feel like that's my second favorite.
Yeah. And again, I could say negatives about both of them. Both of them are really long movies and stuff, but I think Goodfellas is approachable. It's I like I said, my wife instantly loved it. She'd never seen it, watched it,
Yeah.
loved it. And I think it's just, like I said, people of all ages, types, colors, all of that seem to love this movie and there's a reason. It's just that good. The music, all like the narration and stuff, those Scorsese things are perfected in this movie, dude. It's fantastic.
All my life, I wanted to be a gangster.
Karen. Fun fact: I actually saw this fact on a recent video. Joe Pesci in that scene, the shine box scene,
Yeah.
he and nobody else knew this, but he told the gun guy, to put like full loads in the gun to make it sound. It wasn't loaded with regular bullets, but enough gunpowder to make it, sound like a real bullet.
To
And
give it
nobody
that
else
boom.
knew that. And he did it. And he said, like, you could see the reaction. And everybody was like freaked out because like only me and I think maybe Martin Scorsese knew he was going to do it. But just like, that's it, dude. Like, that's why this movie's so good. They were doing shit like that. Pesci's pulled like popping shots, and everyone's like, oh, Jesus. It got like he said, like there was just smoke everywhere. It was just like crazy atmosphere and just silence after that because everyone was like, "Holy
Yeah.
shit, dude!"
What a stickler that little Pesci, man. And the How Am I Funny? That was another one that he didn't run by the rest of the crew. Like that actually happened to him in real life. He ran that by Scorsese, but Scorsese decided to keep that out the script. So the response that you get from Leota, like that was authentic. That was genuine.
Yeah, dude. And everyone just gives an like all out great performance. De Niro's fantastic. De Niro's amazing in this movie. This might be one of his best.
Oh,
I mean, it's
easily.
up there, but
Easily.
you know, I just don't know what more to. The scene where like they take Morty's body to bury it, and then they have to go to Pesci's mom's house to get something, but she's up, so she makes them like sausage, meatballs, and stuff, and they're just like shooting the shit while there's just a dead guy. And she's like, "Why is there blood on this knife?" He's like, "Ah, we killed a deer, ma. It's crazy. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it."
A movie so good that people often overlook that Samuel L. Jackson, the GOAT, is even in the movie. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, he is in that. The guy
To
that's
be
in like,
honest with you, I completely forgot he was in it. He's in it for
yeah,
like a blink and you miss it moment, right? It's not that
yeah,
one. Yeah. So,
yeah, probably like two scenes, and like one of them is not even speaking.
I mean, that was his thing in the early 90s, Steve. This True Romance. I'll eat the pussy. I'll eat the butt. I'll eat a motherfucking
Everything.
thing. Yeah, dude. Um, yeah. So, Goodfellas, if you haven't seen it, I mean, wake up. Go someplace. It's someplace free, right, Steve?
No, it's not available. I'm sure it will again. I mean, it's Goodfellas. It's going to pop up streaming, but yeah, I checked, and yeah, got to come out of pocket. That following year, 90210 is airing season 2, episode 9, Ashes to Ashes. Brandon befriends a black family, the Ashes, which stirs up Beverly Hills when they move in near the Walshes.
Hmm. Did you see the new neighbors? Hmm.
Hmm.
You will. Beverly Hills, Steve. Early 90s.
Yeah.
I guess these people don't. I like, and this is very true of LA that I found. There's people in LA that have never been to parts of LA. You know, I knew people who grew up in Los Angeles, never been to the beach.
Yeah.
The fucking beach is 30 minutes away or maybe more with traffic, but it's like, you never went at all? You never tried? It's like, nah, it's too dangerous over there.
Do they really seem small-minded?
I haven't met rich people like this. I obviously like, but I've met people in LA who are secluded to the, whether it's because of they don't have that much money or whatever, and they have to take a bus and the inconvenience or whatever. But I had all that. I didn't have a car. I was taking buses everywhere, trains, and it's just like they never get out of their box. And I'm sure rich people definitely. Now I think it's a little bit different. I don't think it's like this as much, at least in terms of like the rich people not wanting to go places. But I think honestly, right now it's probably because every place is a shithole. It's not like ghetto-ness. It's just like every place sucks. There's homeless people and crazy people in fucking Beverly Hills. You
Wow.
know, it ain't a great place. But I think this mentality is hilarious because this is just a straight up uppity yuppity. Oh, Carruthers, I can't go over the hill. There's savages over there. It's like
Aaron Spelling.
it's so crazy, dude.
We start this episode off. They're having a neighborhood watch meeting. The speaker, he said there's 90 seconds to get robbed. It only takes 90 seconds. Now, within that 90 seconds, you could have armed security guard at your doorstep.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Sure. But this is Beverly Hills, Steve. So he ain't bullshitting that much. Or is he? We'll see that. We'll see how quality this system is as we move forward. Huge turnout to this basically sales pitch. I thought this was like, I mean, it is neighborhood watch, but you just listen to it's like a timeshare thing.
Yeah.
Like, just give me the brochure, guys. I got some TV to watch.
Some noni juice.
Yeah, screw this. But afterwards, everyone's talking. The Walshes are like, yeah, we just upgraded because of all these local break-ins. And this old lady's like, the Liebermans got broken into. Also, did you see the new neighbors? And they're like, no, is somebody moved in? And they're like, oh, you'll know them when you see them, okay?
Yeah.
FYI.
And her name is Mrs. Cooper. Jim and Cindy Walsh, they're the newest members of this neighborhood watch. We cut back to the school and we see random pictures being taken. They're taken by a young guy named Robinson Ash III, and he claims he's the best photographer that the school has ever seen.
You might be right, Steve. Because Andrea and Brandon are in the little newspaper office discussing, just shooting the shit. She's got old people problems. He's got young people problems. They're meeting in the middle. And she wants to talk about this new photographer who's sending all these hot snapshots into her. These aren't cock shots. These are just great photos, Steve. And this is before phone cameras and all this. These are printed photos developed. And they're great.
Yeah.
He's got a portfolio. He's in high school. This kid's going places. But she tells Brandon the name of this guy, which was, what was it? Robinson, what?
Robinson Ash III.
Robinson Ash the Third. Yes, his photography is fantastic. And of course, Brandon's like, so, okay, where's the ghostly white guy I should be talking to about these photos?
Right.
And walks into a room, sees a guy who's obviously Robinson, this blonde fucking Eddie Bauer looking dude. And he's like, hey, Robinson. And then
it's got to be you.
Yeah, this black dude behind that guy is like, yeah, what's up, man? Very cool. And he's like, wait. And it throws him off for a second, but he regains himself. And he's like, so wait, you're the photographer? And he's like, man, I'm the best motherfucker. He's the most cockiest, but also deserving of the cockiness right off the bat, Steve. He's a new kid, but he's like, yeah, I'm the best. What of it?
I've seen that guy in a lot of things, but mainly 8 Mile. He was B Rabbit's friend that betrayed him. I think he ended up having sex with Brittany Murphy. Yeah.
Nice. I think, dude, now that you mention it, I think you're right.
That's him. Yeah, man. And like you said,
Damn.
Robinson, he's very sure of himself. And him and Brandon, they strike up a conversation, and he's like, you know what? Can I have a ride back to the neighborhood? Because I guess they know that they live in the same vicinity of each other.
He's like, and Brandon's like, here's the thing, dude. And he's looking around. You're like, what kind of racist shit is he about to say? He's like,
Right.
I'm the man. And of course, I'll give you a ride. We're buddies.
Guess you don't know when I'm goofing, huh? And meanwhile, Cindy, his mom, inviting the new neighbors and welcoming them. She brings them a dish.
Yeah, of what it looks like puke casserole. It doesn't look good. You know those black people took that in afterwards and were like, man, throw that shit in the fucking
Thank
trash.
you.
Man, what the fuck are they poisoning us with? Bless you. Have a good one.
Throw that shit in the
Yeah.
trash.
Just fuck the dish. We'll pay it back. Yeah, but Cindy's out there. She's just making friends. They're new. They know what it's like to be new to Beverly Hills. It can be a little rough, a little judgmental. And they're having a good back and forth. And then what is the Mrs. Ash? Mrs. Ash makes this funny joke. She's like, yeah, apparently, because they mentioned the break-ins, and Mrs. Ash is like, yeah, my husband's just glad it happened before we moved into town, if you know what I'm talking about. And she's like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. Yeah, we're racist.
Yeah. It was a joke. Don't get in your feels. And on the ride back home, Robinson says that he can get used to Beverly Hills. Brandon, he's not from there originally, so I think this is only his second year living there. He's like, yeah, I don't know, I'm still kind of iffy about it. And Robinson says, you never lived in the hood before.
Yeah. Go over to the valley, my guy. You're gonna see some shit. But we get to the Robinson family home, Steve, and it's a palatial estate in Beverly Hills. So Mr. Ash is doing something right. And we find out he is the mogul of a one Papa's Popcorn, which I guess is it's like smart food in the 90210 overs, Steve.
It's like Garrett's.
Pop, 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 pop. Brandon's like, yo, let me get a couple of free samples. And I guess, everyone's going to get some free popcorn if everything goes right here, Steve, which is pretty cool. That's a cool hookup. I'll take that.
Get some free kernels. Keep giving me a ride to school. And hey, man, what a deal. So as Brandon's backing out, he gets smacked in the rear end, man. And it's Vivica Fox, man, playing Robinson's older sister, Charisse.
Cherise. I'd be like, looks like fate just wanted us to meet, Cherise. Let me bang out that dent real quick.
Yeah. And they have a shouting match. Look, watch where you're going. Look, you should have saw me coming. Well, it's your fault. I'm suing you. So already he's butting heads with the new neighbors.
Dad, this black chick fucking made fun of me. He goes back and just starts complaining, Steve.
Why should I pay for it if I'm not at fault? Don't worry about it, Brandon. I said I'll pay for it.
We live in Beverly Hills, dude. This is like us dropping a penny on the ground. Screw it. And also, we don't want to look racist, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's really kind of, they don't say it. They're just like, I mean, they use it's like, they're our neighbors, dude. Do you want to get in some shit with Nate? We own property in Beverly Hills. You want these people throwing dog shit in our yard or whatever petty shit people do in Beverly Hills?
And even Cindy, the mom, she says she doesn't want to get the wrong message across. And she's stern about it. She puts her foot down.
And Brandon's like, looks at Brenda. He's like, fucking sucks. That chick's probably at home gloating about all this, just shitting all over me. I can hear it now.
But Charisse is actually at home getting chewed out by her dad, and played by Richard Roundtree, legendary Shaft. Who is the man? And he just says, like, you drive like a bat out of hell. So his dad knows that his daughter drives like shit.
Yeah. And he's like, look, we ain't getting into all this with all these fucking Beverly Hills people. We just moved here. This is my dream. So you're going to go over there and tell them that we're going to pay for the damages. And basically, each parent is saying the same thing. Popcorn guy, Richard Roundtree. This is the greatest, like, alternate universe for Shaft, becomes a millionaire Beverly Hills mogul for popcorn, Steve.
Yeah.
Who
What
pops
author?
that popcorn for his brother, man?
Shaft.
Ash. Just talking about Ash, baby.
Can you dig it?
So now Brendan and Charisse have to meet in the middle. This is like Pakistan and India, Steve. They get
Ooh.
to the whatever it's called, the border there. They stomp feet and they're like, look, Dad wants, they explain it, and then they just start kind of, everything melts away, Steve. You know, Brandon sees this gorgeous goddess in front of him. He's like, it's only a booty call, right?
You do know I'd give your brother rides to school now, so
Hmm. She still has an attitude, Steve. She doesn't like white people, you know? She does. Charisse isn't into the whites. And I don't, is it right here where we find out, or maybe it's like right after this, because they kind of hit it off a little bit, right? But I think she
yeah.
reveals that she actually doesn't go to the high school that Robinson does, Robbie, if you want to, if you're buddies, because she thinks white people are bougie. Beverly Hills, too bougie for her taste. She still goes to the hood school.
Yeah, she goes to Baldwin and he asks why. And then that's when we cut to the next scene where Brandon's talking to Andrea, and she said something like, I wouldn't go to that hellhole if it was the last place on earth.
I mean, damn. I know Steve's gross, but I mean, there's a lot of cool guys over in Beverly Hills. I'm not talking about you, Steve. You know, Ian Ziering. Okay, sorry, you're associated with him by name, but Brandon takes it personally. He doesn't like this. He's like, "What's you believe this chick?"
It's like, yeah, dude, he put Beverly Hills on his back on like, dude, you just moved here 2 years ago, man. Like, why are you taking it so personal?
Andrea takes it personally too because she's like, I gotta lie about where I live to be able to even go to this school because it's so good. So fucking whatever, bitch. It's like shut
Like,
your old
dude,
ass up.
if somebody just moved to Perrysburg and they're like, man, fuck Perrysburg, I'm like, dude, I get it, bro.
Can we be friends?
Yeah, that's usually what makes a friendship. Yeah, I hate this motherfucker too.
Yeah,
Fuck.
exactly. You know, like who cares? It's Beverly Hills, Brandon. Like, what are you gonna fuck? Or do you guest model or something? You're like, I'm gonna be the mayor of this fucking town someday, bitch. How
Talking down on
dare
my
you?
city. Yeah, it's cool to bond over hatred sometimes.
Hell yeah. I mean, honestly, dude, I feel like that's where it creates the strongest friendships
The
and the
strongest
funniest
bond,
friendships as well.
of course. Yeah,
It's built on shitting on things. So
happened in the '90s.
exactly. Um, but Brandon wants to pursue a story. I don't know if it's about. I guess it's about Charisse, right? Like he wants to
Yeah.
interview her just about like why she would not want to go to Beverly Hills.
It's really Andrea pushing the line on this. Brandon, you need to find out why she doesn't. Like, this is a thing. Like, we need to hear more stories like this. Like, Andrea, she's being very extra.
Dude, she's running the fucking tabloid out of Beverly Hills High School, Steve. I
Pretty
mean,
much.
Jesus.
Extra, extra.
Yeah. Brandon's got this on his thing, but he's got an in with Charisse, Steve. He's boys with their brother. So he goes over to Robbie, sort of talks to him about it. And Robbie's like, I mean, I'm cool with it, but she doesn't like whites. So, I mean, maybe she might not want to talk to you, but I'll try to, nudge her a little bit. But Brandon's like, baby, give me 5 minutes with this chick, and she's just gonna want some vanilla filler, Robbie.
And another thing that happens that we overlook, man, the alarm goes off.
Oh,
Brandon's like getting ready for school, and the alarm goes off like early, waking up the rest of the Walshes. And
and the
they're at
neighborhood, because it doesn't just go off in the house. It's like a fucking tornado siren outside.
it's blaring.
You're getting
And they're
calls from the neighbors.
and they're having a hard time turning it off. But eventually, when Mr. Walsh, Big Jim, if you will, comes downstairs, he's like, "Yeah, I got this." And
Maybe
then
I should just type in the combination with my dick because that's what it takes, ladies.
Coach K-Ho.
He does. I mean, bearing a striking resemblance, but he gets it to shut off. But this fucking thing, it's like put the code someplace or like tell everyone, write it on your hand. It's can't.
Yeah.
What is it? A 10-digit code? Jesus, guys.
Seriously. Is it the square root of pi?
So Charisse, we see her trying to call somebody, right?
Yeah, and because this is after Brandon talks to Robbie, like grilling him about his sister, and like they make it back home, and he overhears the conversation that Charisse is having with her boyfriend Devo.
Is it Devo or Debo? Because I was like, damn, this guy's name is Debo. That's fucking
No,
dope.
it's Devo, like
Okay.
the pointed hat band from the '80s. And
Crack that whip.
does Devo look familiar, Matt?
He did, but what's he from?
Walker, Texas Ranger. He was one of the henchmen of the Jamaican gang. He was the guy that got messed
Oh,
up by the Dark Angel.
the Ross Claw. Oh, well, Devo, Steve, he works at a local tamale shop in the hood. He works with Rico Suave himself, Gerardo, I think his name is. And he's having this convo. Him and Charisse are talking. And he's like, look, I don't really want to. I think it should be over because I don't want to come to Beverly Hills. One, it's Beverly Hills, and I'm probably just going to get fucking beat on by the LAPD. But two, your dad is not a huge Devo fan. And I'm not talking about that fucked up song. I'm talking about the tamale slinging dude over in the hood.
Your dad's gonna crack that whip. And like
Licorice will. And then smash cut to Brandon just like overhearing this. Also, Brandon meeting Mrs. Ash decked out in her finest, looking sexy as all hell, and her little like Ivanka Trump out or Ivana Trump outfit. Very 90s, very hoity toity rich. But one bonus of going to the Ashes, that popcorn, Steve, endless. And they got new flavors. They got those like bootleg flavors that aren't even out yet to try out.
Cajun popcorn. Yeah, I'm trying to see what
Shit.
that's like. And
Yep.
then another bonus, you get to look at this.
It's only a
E-
booty call.
Even with the RBF, she's still fine. Just
I don't care, Steve. I don't care about anything when Vivica's in the room. She's been sexy. When was this? 91?
91.
Dude, think of her in Kill Bill. Think how sexy she was in that. Think of her in just everything. I don't know what she looks like now, but Vivica, God damn. Vivica, you're a queen. But her and Brandon shooting the shit. And again, she might have this boyfriend over the hill, but Brandon's starting to chisel away at that exterior a little bit. And she's like, I don't know. I might just want to try the other side. The rich little white boy over here, that flavor ice cream.
Like, were you just staring at me the whole time? He's like, well, I was just waiting on your brother. By the way, why do you detest Beverly Hills? I don't detest Beverly Hills. I just want to see you on the defensive. And we cut back to Robbie. He's got some popcorn. I guess they're supposed to, kick it, watch, I don't know, Kindergarten Cop or something. And he's like, you know what, man, rain check on that. I'm actually going to go out with your sister. It's like, what?
Damn, dude. I mean, that's a baller ass move, but kind of a dick move too. Like,
Yeah.
damn, dude. I thought we were gonna hang, but I guess you want to smash on my sister. I guess that's cool. I guess it must suck to be the brother of Vivica A. Fox, though, Steve. Because if I was hanging out with you and your sister looked like Vivica A. Fox, you'd be constantly be like, "Yo, hey," because I'd just be sitting there like, yeah, shut up.
I told you to shut that door.
So Robbie, he's just going to be jacking off and eating popcorn all night while Brandon's out with his sister. So that's not really that cool, Brandon, but respect. Then we cut back to the tamale shop, tamale heaven or whatever. Devo and Rico Suave are just like talking, And Rico Suave is like, dude, you need to go hang out with this chick. And also, you need to change your clothes because you smell like tamales. So throw a little green shirt on because green's for the money, baby. Gold's for the honey, You know, he's very Bishop Don Magic Wand /
Yeah.
Rico Suave. But this is very 90s. Devo, he doesn't have an address, Steve. So he calls 411's like, get me this Robinson Ash's address. It's a new address in Beverly Hills. And, you know, that's all it took. I guess it was pretty easy to stalk people in the 90s too, because all you had to do was call 411.
Yeah, those were some good times, man. And back back with the Beverly
Steve's
Hills.
like, oh man, that was just the best.
Yeah. Rubbing my hands like Birdman, damn it. Yeah, bitch, I'm gonna find out where you at.
All I need is a name. I need first and last. I'll find you. But Brandon goes to the diner. I forget what it's called. It's their local. It's like the Max, you know.
Yeah.
And he introduces everyone to Charisse, and I love this because I'm a white guy who dates black or dated black chicks and married a black chick. So I definitely saw this reaction in smaller places, not this obvious. But he's like, "Hey, Charisse, this is my friend Charisse," and everyone that's his regular friend was like, "Oh,
Oh,
hey, Charisse, nice." And Steve gives him that like, nice,
yeah.
nice. The chick's stunning, and she's in like Louis Vuitton. She looks like Clueless. She has like the Clueless outfit on. It's so hot.
Stacey Dash.
Yeah, but Steve tries to throw some game at Charisse, like very limited game, but he throws a little some at her. Even though, is he with Kelly?
No, she's like free agent, I think, at this
Well,
point.
he's like sly dogging it, just like loose, hanging with his arm around her, and he's like, "Hey, Charisse, what do you think about my little blonde perm shit going on here?" Right?
Yeah. I think they just broke up, her and Steve. But while that's going on, Devo, he's trying to make it to the Ashes, and then the Walshes alarm goes off again.
And it's, you know, this is embarrassing. They can't get it to turn off. The wife's calling the security. It's very confusing who she's talking to, whether it's a neighbor or the security team. Like, there's all these calls happening, but this security system, it's like, rip the fucking thing off of the wall at this point because it's not working, guys.
Yeah.
What is it tracking?
Most of the time she was on the phone, it was with Mrs. Cooper. She's like a watchdog. Like, she's always the one. She's a Karen. I'm sure that's probably her first name, Karen Cooper. And anytime something happens in the neighborhood, she's just Johnny on it. But as the alarm is going off, Devo has these dogs nipping at his heels, and then whoop, 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 here come them boys. Boys come out, they start harassing and accosting Devo, and they waste no time like roughing them up. So, you're responsible for those robberies, huh? It was you. Yeah. Put your head on the hood of this car.
Yeah, I mean, this is LAPD in the 90s, Steve. This is, you know, standard operating procedure for these guys. They rough up Devo, arrest him for being black in Beverly Hills after 7 p.m. And, you know, it's news, Steve. It becomes news. And Brandon's a reporter, Steve, so he's sniffing for headlines. Maybe Charisse, this might have to go on the back burner because we got a like pre Rodney King thing going on here. And Devo, we don't know what happened to him yet, Steve. Is he going away for the rest of his life? Is he dead? What's going on here?
If I'm not mistaken, this happened around the time of Rodney King.
Well, yeah, I guess you're right. I don't know what happened. Maybe it did happen. Maybe it was like after that, but Devo was just in the wrong place, wrong time for being as a black dude.
Wrong color.
And the next morning, Brandon and Brenda are just like, Charisse, she's cool.
And Cindy, the mom, she finds out what happened to Devo, and Brandon tells her, "Hey, I actually took Charisse out." And the dad was like, "I'm surprised." Why would you be surprised? Oh, well, because 2 days ago, it seemed like you hated her guts. Good way to dodge that question, Jim.
Yeah,
Good way to
nice.
dress that
I
up.
mean, what is he? Is he a lawyer? Is he a lawyer?
He's in the business or something like that.
I mean, he lives in Beverly Hills. He's slimy, so he's gonna know. I mean, he knows how to wheel and deal out of that. So heads up, nice heads up play, Coach K. You got out of that one. Brandon goes over to pick up Robinson because he's his ride. And the vibe's off, Steve. Robinson's acting a little cagey. He's like, "Oh, you know what, dude? I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna go with my mom. She's gonna give me a ride instead." And he's like, "Wait, what's going on here?" He's like, "Dude, just it's cool. See ya."
Yeah. By the way, I didn't hear anything about Devo. I overslept that. You didn't hear the alarms? Yeah, man, I sleep heavy. So yeah.
I
See you
drank a
in
lot, so I was blacked out at that point. Sorry. What happened?
and meanwhile, Sharice is getting chewed out by her pops, Papa Popcorn. And it's like I don't like liars, and I don't like my daughter sneaking around with young thugs selling tamales.
Young whippersnappers. I don't like this Devo. I don't like that red hat on that he always has on and that weird black shirt that he has on. Licorice whips.
Smelling like chorizo.
Fuck a tamale. Anyway. So yeah, Sharice, I mean, it was already, he was hoping that like moving to Beverly Hills, his daughter's not going to be fucking around with this tamale loving kid. You know, maybe in it's some guy that cooks Italian food or something. At least a guy that works at Olive Garden in Beverly Hills. Fuck this tamale shit.
We didn't make it this far so we can be placed under a microscope. I mean, what would the neighbors think? Who cares what they think? I care what they think.
I'm the popcorn man. God damn it, Cherise. We're just working on a damn sour cream and onion flavor that I had. Anyway, we cut to school. And Steve and Kelly are just out with it. Steve's like,
Yeah.
so how's that jungle fever going, Brandon? Hey,
Wondering if there's any jungle fever happening, huh?
does it taste different? Shut up, Steve.
Tastes like collard greens. High five, Kelly. Yeah, Beverly Hills.
Anyway, other than that casual racism, Brandon, what's up? Gonna go
Yeah,
get some breakfast?
Steve, back to being douchey. You make it hard to like you, dude.
Yeah, but Brandon's he wants to pursue this story about these racist security guards. These weren't even cops, Steve. These were security guards.
Paul Blart.
Yeah, that roughed up Debo. Devo. I'm sorry, not. I want it to be Debo so bad, but so Brandon goes right to the source, and he goes over to Robinson. He's like, "Dude, sister, I'll put the fucking of that on the back burner, but this guy, this Devo, get me in touch." And Robinson's not appreciating it, Steve.
It's like, dude, why are you making this worse than what it already is, man? You're trying to fan the flames and it's just gonna blow up. Dude, just leave it alone. My problem is actually with you, Brandon. You think you're better than everyone else, but you're not. You're just the same. You use me to get to my sister. On top of that,
Straight up facts. Tells it, and he has balls. He does what he should. He straight up. He tells him exactly what's up. He's right too. He's like, why would you want to like make this put more publicity on this for us? Like this sucks. So it sucks that we're gonna have to read about this shit in a fucking high school paper. You're not fucking Walter Cronkite, dude. Fucking chill the fuck out. You're trying to bang my sister. You're bringing like just drudging up dirt on my family, and you're using me. And all I've been trying to do is hook you up with free popcorn and a cool place to chill in the afternoon. So fuck off, dude.
got this atomic ass alarm just wake up the neighborhood 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, man.
Fucking asshole. Brandon then goes to Cherise. And she's fucking pissed too. She didn't know that he was trying to get an interview with her, but now she does. So now she's like, that's fucking weird and sus. And then again, they're talking and their conversation gets interrupted by this fucking alarm again. just
Yeah.
going off. I mean, is it a rabbit? What's going on here at this point? So Cerise is like, go turn the alarm off, white boy, and just leave me the fuck alone. And just that's it. So he goes off. He's pissed. Everyone's pissed now, Steve. This was a nice neighbor. This was a nice, almost some interracial love story. And now it's just fucking flames.
Brandon Walsh is trash. Yeah, like she tells him to leave before my father gets here, and he grounds me even more. And now Cindy, she's on the phone with Mrs. Cooper again, and security's already there. And I guess one of the spokesmen, he's there now and saying that, like, "Hey, we're going to replace the circuits. Thank you guys for being patient." And so Brandon asks him, "So, like, did your officers fill out a report?" Sure.
I like how also he's talking to a high school kid about this like security system. Like I'd be like, I don't fucking care, dude. It's like this stuff never happens. These things are top notch. We're gonna get this done for you. We appreciate your patience. I'll be like, I'm gonna go play Nintendo, dude. What are you talking to me for? Talk to my fucking mom, fatty.
But
Fucking-
Brandon actually goes to Tamale Heaven, and he's going to try to get an interview with Sharice's boyfriend. He's heading to the hood, Matt. Brandon in the hood.
Oh, you know it's. I like how worried everyone is. They're like, you're going to Van Nuys? Don't. Dude, you're going alone? He's like, dude, it's gonna be fine. And then when he's driving there, it's like boot to the boot. It's like fucking heavy
course.
heart.
They're playing like
Going
some
to
rock
the
hymn or something. Yeah.
And he gets there, immediately gets eyed up by three thugs in the park in a fully lit parking lot. These guys just walk up to him and are just like,
Me mugging.
it happened to me one time, Steve. Not this level, not in a parking lot. It happened in a bus stop at 3 a.m. So I think my situation in a bad neighborhood, but this it's a little heavy handed. I don't know, but maybe they were just gonna fucking fuck with them verbally, but fucking Devo sees it, comes, saves Brandon's fucking life, dude.
Yeah, he runs those young punks off before anything happens. And then after they leave, he turns to Brandon. He's like, "Look, man, if you're looking to score, I suggest you go back to your side of the hills." But Brandon follows him and tells him, like, "Look, man, I'm not a doper. I'm a friend of Sharice's. I mean, I'm her neighbor." But Devo's pissed, and rightfully so, because he even mentions Rodney King. So that I think this
Yeah.
happened like after. It makes me angry. It makes me sad. My mom actually had to beg for money to get a taxi. And I'll never forget the look on her face when she came into the ER. And I got a brother in prison. I got a brother on the pipe. She just got me. So while they're talking, Sharice shows up with Brenna.
Yep. I like how Brandon needs somebody to illustrate that life isn't exactly like it is in Beverly Hills everywhere else. It's like, hey, dude, sorry you don't have I don't have a limousine to drive me to the doctor's office and shit and all this nice stuff. Brenda is cool. Bring Charisse. Charisse is there and kind of like squashes the situation a little bit. It's very tense.
Yeah.
And it relieves that. Debo and Charisse need to talk. He's like, "Oh, you want one of these tamales?" She's like, "Ugh, I don't want them shits." And he's like, "Man, I thought you liked them." Robinson tells Brandon he's there too because he came with. He snapped a couple of candids while all this was going on, which I love. This kid is gonna he's like a city of God level photographer, Steve. And hell yeah. And he's like, you know what, Brandon? I think you should tell your story now. And I got some photos to go with it. So, and a little bit of popcorn and friendship.
We're buddies again? Beverly Hills. And yeah, man. The next day, the whole crew, they're in the living room, the Walsh living room. They're vibing to some Papa's popcorn and cracking jokes and whatnot. And the Walshes get a knock on the door. And it's Karen Cooper, Mrs. Cooper. And Cindy, she answers the door and she's like, "Look, you're concerned about us canceling our account. What we do and why we do it is none of your concern. Now, if you don't mind, I'm hosting some of our new friends." She goes back to the kitchen, and at the table, it's the Ashes with Jimmy, Coach K. Walsh, having a cup of tea. Shout out to the Walshes.
Hell yeah, dude. But I also like because Dylan's here too, Steve. This is a Dylan light episode, but
Uh,
Dylan's chilling on the couch. He's reading the Brendan's article. It's like, man, this shit is killer, bro. This shit is killer. And let me just share with you what my favorite little passage is. It's when we stop looking at the human race as individuals, that we, as a generation, are in trouble. And after he says that, he's like, eloquently put, Brandon. What kind of high school fucking kids are these, Steve?
I mean, Beverly Hills, man, they get top notch education. So hey,
Even the bad boy. So eloquently put, my man, my broski. But, Steve, the Walshes, they're trying to do a little bit for race relations in Beverly Hills, Steve. And I applaud that. And I think Brandon's going to at least get a little makeout sesh with Cherise sometime. She lives right like next door, Steve.
yeah. Unfortunately, we never see Charisse again in this whole series.
Dude, if she lived next to me as a high school kid, I would have been not fat. I would be in the fucking backyard working out with my shirt off, just trying to get some like buff enough to just get that chick to come over and just sharing some love, Steve. Sharing some neighborly love.
On that same day in 1991, The Simpsons are airing season 3 premiere, Stark Raving Dad. Homer accidentally lands in a mental hospital and ends up sharing a room with a white man who thinks he is Michael Jackson.
And before we get to it, shame on whoever made the decision to just block this from people watching it. I don't care what happened with Michael Jackson. This is one of the most rememberable episodes of this show, and at the time was a huge thing.
It still is,
It's a
man.
fucking it's history. We're not supporting something knowing the bad things if we watch something that was made before we knew what the bad things were. Does that make sense? It's like I don't understand erasing shit because some guy was an asshole. Like he didn't create this. He's just somebody that did a voice on it. It's fucking crazy.
Disney with their virtue signaling. They banned the Tailspin episode that we covered.
It's
And
it's
like
stupid, dude. It like really makes me mad because it's like how do you learn any there's a lesson to be learned from everything, right? Nobody made the decision to let him do that. Nobody did anything knowingly. Like Matt Groening wasn't like, hey Mike, can you get that kid's anus out of your mouth enough to do this voice? Like nothing, there was no
he had nothing.
negativity here. It was just
Yes.
two superstar things colliding and making magic that was a singular thing. So why erase it? Let it be there so people know what happened and can enjoy something that was fantastic at the time that just happened to have a voice from somebody who did some allegedly terrible things. He's dead. He can't hurt anybody anymore, okay? But there was a time where that guy was on top of the world. So just it is what it is, you know.
They actually banned it like years after he died too, man. Like I want to say when the newer allegations popped up and they made the documentary. But it's like, dude, why that's my thing. Why get the catalog if you're just going to give some of it? Like clearly there are people who want to watch this. So give them everything that you have, man. Like
It's not like money goes into somebody's pocket. Like if you watch this episode, a molester's going to get $1,000 because it's there's just no reason to erase it. It happened. Somebody involved in it was involved in some really awful, heinous things allegedly, and learn from it. Learn somebody like I don't know what even to learn about it. Just watch it and understand The Simpsons was killing it in 91 or 92, whatever it
this is
was.
91.
I'm
And
sorry. I just had to vent, Steve. It pisses me off when people erase things like that. You shouldn't erase anything. Don't erase anything. Learn from it. Be
like
better.
no, it pisses me off too because I had to seek high and low to find this episode, man.
I mean, dude, here's how I watched it because you sent me a link. It didn't work. On YouTube, they have it broken down into like 8 2-minute videos, but you get to watch the whole episode through that. So it's there. I mean, you can just search the title of the episode,
Yeah.
Stark Raving Dad, and it'll show up. But it's just like it's just as it makes it just as to me completely ignorant choice to erase something, especially as something that's like a pop culture entertainment thing. It's not anything bad. So we'll stop. We'll get off the fucking soapbox. But yeah,
Are we
dude.
virtue signaling right now?
I mean, I just to me, it just isn't, because something that I always think about when people do things like that is like, if you don't, like that quote, and I'm going to butcher it, but like, if you don't remember history, you're doomed to repeat it. Things like that. Like even when, like even something as small as like making you not watch like an episode of TV, like something like this. There's some ignorance in that just doesn't make sense to me. Like you made it, it's there. Are you trying to make people forget that you had some weird like one episode relationship with Michael Jackson? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't just doesn't make sense.
And Disney of all people, like, your founder, there've been some things dug up about him and his character. So come on.
Yeah, dude. I mean, we can everybody can look into somebody's past and find some dark fucking demons. And Disney, of all places,
Of all
you
places.
know, especially anyone that owns a conglomerate like Disney is now, there's dirt to be found. So maybe just don't do this and don't let us even think about it. And just let us watch some shit from our childhood to make us feel better. Because I love this episode, dude. This gives me the feels.
This is one of the greatest cameos of this series.
I mean,
It's
dude, so big he called a hit show, and was like, I want to do a voice. And they're like, yep, say less, dude.
and it also it surrounds my favorite character in the Simpsons universe, Lisa. It used to be Bart when it initially started, then it became there was a Homer era for me. But like in my older years, man, Lisa, she's the smartest one. She plays the saxophone, and I think intelligence is cool. I think she's even smarter than the scientists and the blaming, like she's smarter than those dudes.
Yeah. Well, she eventually becomes president, if you remember like when they went into the future, Steve.
Yeah,
Cucks Millhouse out. Um, yeah, I went through that same like navigation of favorite characters too. Homer is probably, and it's like that Randy Marsh effect. He's just like the dumbest, funniest character on the show, and inevitably has the most jokes. But Lisa is the one that I'd want to hang out with.
and it's her birthday coming up. And she wakes Bart up to alert him, like, "Hey, man, it's in 2 days. And by the way, all of my birthdays, you disappoint me. So this time around, do better."
Yeah, this is the one, dude. Step up. I mean, geez, it's come on. What do you want him to do?
And Bart, when he does wake up, he's in the kitchen on the phone and he's on the crusty hotline.
2 minutes for the first minute and a minute for each additional minute.
And that's
That's
all it
it.
is.
Dude, but this shit, I remember this.
Yeah.
Not this, like something like this, but Nintendo had a hotline where you could call and ask for tips.
Yep. I
And
remember
I
that.
fucked up and did that. And it was this exact thing because you're like, how did I get past this Zelda guy or whatever? And some guy, some nerd or somebody's like, give me 2 minutes and I will get back to you. And you just be put on hold, charged whatever it was while you're on hold. It's like, oh, Jesus.
Like
Dude.
$5 a minute.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. So he probably spent about $10. Not he's gonna get in trouble in about a month, right at the end of the month when that bill comes. Homer runs in shirtless. He's looking for his shirts. Marge has the laundry, and unfortunately, Steve, all the whites they got turned pink. So he's rocking pink shirts from now on because Bart put his lucky red hat in with the whites,
Yeah.
and now Homer looks like the top of every donut that he eats on the show.
And like I think Marge tells him, "Don't worry, Homer. It's not like you're gonna stand out. Everyone's wearing different shirts." Very next scene at work, everyone's wearing a white shirt, and Homer definitely stands out. They're even clowning him at work. Lenny and the other guy, they're like, "Hey, we saved a pink donut for you, Homer."
And as he's about to eat said donut, Steve, Mr. Burns' security team just rips him out and throws him in a dark room because as everyone's entering, Mr. Burns has some weird like monitoring system where it's like Big Brother. He's watching it all.
Who is this? He's some kind of forward-thinking free activist.
He doesn't like people that think differently. So they throw him into this room. Turns out Smithers tells Mr. Burns is like, we did all the body cavity searches turned up nothing. So we did multiples. I don't know who God knows how many fingers Homer has, but he's got nothing up him. Really, nothing's going on here. But there's this guy named Marvin Monroe who's like the local psych dude. It turns out he's got a little 20 question sanity test, just, cash. But if it'll determine whether this guy's a psycho or not for wearing that pink shirt. So he throws Homer in a take home test. And I guess Homer gets to finish out his day and go home because that's where we go to.
And Bart helps him do the personality test. He asks him, do you hear voices? Only yours. Are you quick to anger? And then he just like rattles off a bunch of other ones, like, do you wet yourself? Then he just like answers the questions by himself.
I mean, he just abacabas it, Steve. I mean, he's like, and everybody, because Homer initially goes to Lisa because she's the smartest. But she's like, I'll do it, but you have to listen to this poem I wrote about a cat. And it's like about a dying cat. He died. He died. And Homer's like, fuck this, and goes to Bart. And even Bart's like, are you sure you don't want to do this? Because, like, this seems pretty important. And Homer's like, what? Just fill it out. And he abacabas it. And the next day, Homer's immediately thrown into the funny farm, Steve. It doesn't even take 5 minutes.
Yeah. Put him in with the little white guy who thinks he's the little black guy. Here he is.
Terrifying,
man.
Steve. He's a giant. He asks him like what his name is. He's like, Michael Jackson, you might have heard of me. And Homer's like, who?
From the Jacksons. Oh, I'm Homer Simpson from the Simpsons.
I wrote Beat It, Thriller, Billie Jean.
Man in the Mirror.
Is that like a movie or what is that?
And he even does a little demonstration, little mini moonwalk. How do you do that thing with your feet? No, that thing with your feet.
And he's like, why are you in here, man? And Homer's like, well, I wore a pink shirt. And that's really it. And Mike's like, I can sympathize with people judging you for how you dress. I typically wear some sort of a circus outfit with bedazzles on it or shining lights or even just leather. So and it's not the nightmare you'd think being in one of these insane asylums, Steve. The guy's he's not pissing on himself. He's not trying to kill you. He just thinks he's Michael Jackson. But could have fooled me. He's got the pipes and he's got the moonwalk.
Like we see the different characters that are in there. He's like, man, I don't see why that guy's in here. He seems about as normal as me. And then after that, he sees why he's in there. And then they meet Chief. A shout out to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Always appreciate those references. And Homer's like, man, I got to talk to my family. So he calls home and Bart answers and he tells him like, look, I'm here with Michael Jackson. What, the Michael Jackson?
Who is this guy? But he's like, get your mother. So Bart does whatever. He's just a dick. He's like, Mom, Dad's in a mental institution. Hands the phone over to Marge. Who's like, what? Has a total meltdown. But as she like gets on the phone or like she calls the mental hospital back, she gets put on hold and the hold music is I'm crazy. I thought that was hilarious too. So they have Homer and Marge have their little separate breakdowns. And on Homer's side, Michael just starts singing Homer to sleep because he can tell his boy's like fucked up. And I like Homer and has like a little puppy dream. And he's like, coffee, donuts, boobies. And that just sounds like a great dream, Steve.
And I think the next day, Homer hears a story from this guy named Dave who suffers from agoraphobia.
Agoraphobic, I think, because he's afraid to go outside. Little coked up too. He's got some like coke energy. He's spazzy, Steve.
and Marge visits, and the guy at the mental institute tells him that, what does he tell her?
Well, he's going through his diagnoses, and Marge is like, "This he's you're crazy. He is not insane." And she says something to him about like Bart, and the doctor's like, "Wait, Bart's a real person?" Because he
Yeah.
thought Bart was like a figment of Homer's imagination. He was so evil, and just that one fact gets Homer out. He's out. He's busting out of this place.
Yeah. After talking to your wife, we believe you're in no threat of yourself. And he invites Michael Jackson over to his house, like, hey, whenever you get out of here, you can come over, stop by. And Michael Jackson says, oh, how about today?
I'm here voluntarily, dude. I'm just here because the shit's. The world's too bad. So, I'll take you up on that. And as just a regular person, I'd be like, shit.
But before they leave, though, Homer calls home again and he tells Bart, like, hey, I'm coming home with Michael Jackson. It's like, wait, what? But like, don't tell anybody.
You can't tell anyone. And Bart's like, dude, I'm not gonna tell anybody. I now also like Bart or Homer calls him like from the place, and he has like like people around him. He's like, hey boy, I'm coming home and I'm gonna smother you with kisses because you got me in here. But he's like, Bart, do not tell anybody. We don't want like this to get out. So we'll see it. We'll be home soon. So Bart hangs the phone up. He's sitting there, and like a kid who has a red button in front of him that somebody told him not to push, it takes like 5 seconds, and he's like calls Millis. He's like, Michael Jackson's coming, and then it just word travels fast, Steve.
Well, I like the fact how he asked Milhouse, "Hey, Milhouse, can you keep a secret?" No. Okay. Well, who cares anyway? So, anyways, Michael Jackson is coming.
I mean, so much like word gets out so much so that when Homer and Marge get home, Bart opens the door. There's like a Woodstock level of people waiting just out. Helicopters are hovering over the house. Homer gets out. Everyone's like, oh, hey, there's the crazy guy. Where's Mike at? And then Mike gets out of the car, and he's this big, fat, gigantic dude who's not Michael Jackson. And everyone's like, what the fuck?
And they boo him.
They
Like,
throw trash at him, I think, too.
yeah, and like one of the bullies punches Bart, like, ugh, you owe us Michael Jackson.
And I like the mayor's like, I knew Michael Jackson would never come to this shithole burg of a town.
Yeah.
And this is Lisa's birthday, Steve. So now, after all that, Lisa goes up to Bart and is like, so about that birthday present, it's my birthday. What'd you do? And he disappoints her, Steve, again. He's got nothing. She's in tears, and everything's gone to shit.
And Lisa goes straight to her room and she writes Bart a hate filled letter saying, look, Bart, we're only brother and sister in name only. And if I ever see you at a reunion, I only love you from a distance. And Michael overhears this because she's speaking out the words that she's writing. And like Michael hears this and he goes back to Bart's room. He's like, you want to know what I did for my sister's birthday? What, hit him? Like, no, I'd write them a song. Let's write a song for your sister.
Yeah. And I mean, he's got no, it's like, what other option do I have here other than to hang out with this crazy guy and write this song? So they get to working, they get in the lab. Bart's throwing a couple freestyles out there. Lisa, her teeth are big and green. Lisa, she smells like gasoline. Lisa, da 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 Misa. It's just not hitting, Steve. It's
Yeah.
not. And Mike's like, come on, man, you can do better than that. And he starts doing what Mike does, Steve, tickling them ivories, belting some shit out.
You got to get a feel for your sister. Do you know who your sister is? Like, what are some of the things that she likes? Do you understand your sister? Like, dude, I don't care. That's my sister.
Yeah, I don't even look at her half the time. He's like, maybe we should go watch her for a little bit just to get some inspiration, which is creepy. And what they do is creepy. They just go into Bart's treehouse and like literally stare into her window and watch her. And even she's like, hey, I know you're over there watching. It's like very
Yeah.
stalkerish. I don't like
Yeah.
that for Mike.
Yeah. I
Steve.
hear you talking to me about me.
Also, not a good look for somebody who just got out of a insane asylum. Just peeping on a little girl in a window. It's just, you got to think about the optics.
And Lisa cries herself to sleep. But the next day, we see Michael rolling the piano in Elisa's room. They wake her up and then cue that classic song.
Bam, bam, bam. Lisa, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Lisa. I mean, I didn't get all the words either, Steve, but it's a hit. Kendra said that this song holds a big significance for her because her little brother or her older brother used to sing this to her when she was a little girl for her birthday. It's that
It's
prolific, dude. Everybody
yeah.
sings this song. It could have replaced the happy birthday song. It's that much of a hit.
Everybody from our era, like at least those lines, we remember, man. It's one of them things like Jesse, like with the pill problem, like
Yeah, hell yeah.
us '90s kids. It's just stuck with you, man.
If you know, you know.
Yeah,
And it gets through it. Lisa's just loving it. It's a fantastic birthday present. Everything's like tied up just like a beautiful bow. And maybe this guy is Michael Jackson, Steve. Maybe he is. His soul, he's got this soulful voice. He's so nice. He's got the moves. But then he's like, well, I gotta get out of here. And they're like,
yeah.
whoa, what the fuck happened to your voice? And he's like, I'm not Michael Jackson. My real name's Leon Kampowski. And he just
I'm a
sounds like a
bricklayer
yeah, he just sounds
from
like a pipe.
Paterson, New Jersey. Yeah,
I just toughest times got tough. So just decided to do this, but this really knocked me out of it. So I'm going back to Patterson, starting up that pipe fitting business again. Thanks.
my work here is done.
He's like Mary Poppins, Steve, but crazy.
I remember this episode being like a urban legend because this predates internet, so I didn't know if this was really Mike or not. So I had no way of looking this or fact checking it. And even on the show, he's credited as John J. Smith. So when it would replay in the reruns, man, like you didn't see Michael Jackson. So I was like, dude, people are saying this is Mike. It sounds like Mike, but like what's really going on?
Yeah,
So
you couldn't just look it up. But there is
but
a lot of fun facts about the show. Like it just, I didn't know that he contacted them to do it, and
yeah,
basically he agreed as for them letting him do the episode and do a voice that he would write them a song based on the show, and he did. He wrote "Do the Bartman," and it was a hit, which is crazy as fuck too. That's insane, but that's what this led to, and that's hilarious. That is like a fun like uh time capsule type thing where it's like, I mean, unless I guess you were paying attention to the credits, which I was, and I was a little kid, I didn't know what to look for, but it was just like, it sounds like him. I think it is, like you didn't know. It's hilarious.
yeah, man. And I remember this being a big deal when it first came out, man. I remember I watched it in real time. Did you?
Hell yeah. And
Yeah,
everybody that was this was before celebrities were doing this show or any of these like animated shows regularly. So like anytime a celebrity did The Simpsons, that was the thing that you were waiting for. Like
yeah.
this week on The Simpsons, and like whoever it was, George Clooney's going to be on it, or this guy, or that, whoever was famous.
Mel
It was
Gibson.
just, yeah. So shout out, dude. And for whoever's making these dumb calls to erase things out of history because it just doesn't suit your PR quota or whatever, just fucking stop it and just be an adult and understand people are smart enough to understand what's bad and good. And this is just a fucking awesome, it's something fun to look back to in the 90s for us especially that experienced it, and it's just something, a great memory. It's nothing, there's nothing bad about it, so stop it, guys.
And just one more thing, man. I feel like this made being a celebrity guest a thing. This episode, like I think it was like a badge of honor to like, oh, you made it. It's kind of like hosting SNL. Like this was like another one of those things, man. Another mark. Like
Yeah,
I
which
think
and then transferred to South Park, in that whenever a celebrity got roasted on South Park and made fun of, that was a badge of honor,
yeah.
So same thing, and that's something South Park probably got from this, but specifically maybe this episode. I think you're right, because before this, what did we have?
And that's what I was trying to think, man. But yeah, another classic under our belts, man. But
Well, Scooby Doo, whenever they'd have like the Harlem Globetrotters or like
yeah,
somebody, somebody like that every once in a while would do it. But you might be right about that, Steve. Pop cultural history wise, you might be right about that.
on that same day, Fox had a nice night on September 19th, 91. Drexel's Class debuts on Fox. Lasts one season, 18 episodes. Otis Drexel is a corporate raider who is known for getting the deal done. After he is caught red handed for dodging taxes, he's given a suspended sentence on the condition that he teaches at an elementary school until the back taxes are paid up. Every week, Otis would do his best at adjusting from going to boardroom to classroom with help from his two daughters. And it features a young Jason Biggs, and he's in every episode. He's one of the little elementary school students, a young Matthew Lawrence, and one of Drexel's daughters, Dabney Coleman's daughters, is Brittany Murphy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Dabney Coleman, obviously, yeah, he plays the lead as Mr. Drexel. But I remember the episode where Digital Underground guest starred, and this is when they had Tupac, and I don't know why this show only lasted 18 episodes, but that is another thing that I will always remember. I'm not going to say that's like shared across the 90s kids board, but for me personally, man, I remember that. Even Michael Oliver made a guest appearance. That's the kid from Problem Child. He actually
Oh shit!
had a two-parter.
I didn't know he did anything else other than Problem Child. But yeah, dude, Drexel's Class. It was like a USA syndicated show that I definitely saw on USA Network. Like they had reruns of this show. I didn't know
Wow.
Brittany Murphy was in the shit though. That's crazy as hell.
Yeah. And I'm watching the pilot, like Jason Biggs, he's like a little smart aleck kid. And I was like, dude, kid, you don't even have any idea. Your biggest claim to fame in like 8 years is gonna be you fucking a cherry pie.
Like warm apple pie. Yeah, dude, that must be weird for that guy. Like that's your thing. Your
It's
naked ass pumping into a pie on one of the biggest movies of the 90s.
it gets no bigger than that, Jason. So yeah, man. Enjoy it
Well,
while it lasts. And Dabney Coleman, he just passed away, so R.I.P. to him, man. That following year, 1992, The Amazing Live Sea Monkeys debuts on CBS. The series follows the comic misadventures of the professor, three sea monkeys that he has accidentally enlarged to human size. And it lasts one season, 11 episodes. This is a Howie Mandel idea, and he got the idea from the actual sea monkeys from the 70s, those little play toys that you could get at like Woolworths or some kind of like Walmart
anywhere.
store.
You could
Yeah,
get them anywhere. They were just brine shrimp.
yeah, and he like the idea came to him when his daughter was asking to buy some, and I shit you not, this is quoted on the wiki. He said that this could be bigger than the Ninja Turtles. And thank
Mm.
you better thank God Howie Mandel for Bobby's World and Little Monsters, because if not, I would have a lot more words for you. How like what kind of devil's dandruff were you on to even utter those words?
To think, looking, if you look up the Amazing Live Sea Monkeys to see what it looked like,
Yes.
it's I mean, it's like if Dinosaurs, the TV show, meets the Snorks almost, the cartoon. It's very weird looking. And I don't remember this. Shame on you, Howie Mandel. They got one of them dressed to look a little bit like Urkel, it looks like. I don't like this at all. So I never saw it. I
Man,
don't even remember this at all, Steve.
I just remember the look, but thank God it didn't last long. And you know what? Get this shit back off my screen because yeah, bigger than the Ninja Turtles. How
You
dare you?
get out of here, dude. Get right the fuck out of here.
Uh, what, sea monkeys. You know what? Let's make a show about them. But on that same day, 1992, Renegade debuts in syndication. After Crooked Cop Lieutenant Dutch Dixon kills his girlfriend and frames him for murder, Reno Reigns escapes from jail and goes on the run. 5 seasons.
Renegade. Dude, this was like I think this was like 40-year-old woman bust material for like CBS back in the day or whoever aired this. Cause I think even my grandma, this was like on the same level as Hercules, except
Yeah.
Lorenzo Lamas was just like either in a leather vest with no shirt under it or a leather duster with no shirt, but it's just a guy with sexy, like a sexy dude with long hair busting shots. And I guess he was probably like doing some MacGyver shit where he's like helping people every episode, but he's a renegade, Steve. He's on the run.
But was it anything like MacGyver? Was it MacGyver light?
It's to me what I remember from Renegade. It's like take the action you would see in Walker, Texas Ranger, take all the martial arts out of it, and instead of Chuck Norris, put like just a buff white dude with long hair in it, just throwing a couple fisticuffs. But I think he just is usually killing people, which is something weird for a guy who's on the run, Steve. Like low profile this shit.
In 110 episodes, man, like he didn't leave the country. So you said you've seen some of these episodes. How do they not find the man? Like he's on the run all 5 seasons, 110 episodes.
Well, he's got help, and I'm pretty sure. Okay, I think he has like a Native American buddy that helps him out. I'm gonna look this up on IMDb because I want to not be. Yep, he does. Branscombe Richmond, who
Okay.
plays Bobby Six Killer in the show. I think that's one of his buddies. And he's always dicking down a chick because he's just a hot guy rolling through town
He's
and
got
with
time
like,
to fuck
oh, I'm
on the run.
it's fucking Lorenzo Lamas, dude. He has to fuck. That's his gasoline. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His bike runs on pussy juice. So it's just basically just it was Walker Texas Ranger with a sexier white dude with no martial arts skills. I don't
Uh,
remember. I honestly didn't think he was like running from the law. I don't remember that aspect of it at all. I just thought he was just like a guy who was like a vigilante. So he's like he's a renegade. I didn't know he was on the run. I'd have to look into that a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I never watched an episode, man. I just thought it was far fetched, and like from the breakdown just now, like it
It
seems like
doesn't make any sense, but it did lead us to get Dennis Reynolds and Mac wearing the duster with no shirt on under it, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So, if nothing else, it gave us that.
there you go, Renegade. Also in '92, Nickelodeon, Guts debuts on Nickelodeon. 4 seasons, 160 episodes. Man, I always wanted that aggro Crag.
I still do, dude. I think that they should like get the shit out of the warehouse it's in, get an aggro crag type fitness thing going on. Like make that a fitness thing, and just because they have all these crazy gyms anyway, set up a guts gym. Let people work out and do this shit for real. Because fuck the aggro crag. You know what I wanted to do? That thing where you jumped off of the thing with a bungee cord and you had to shoot for
Yeah.
like fucking jump shots. I
This was,
always wanted to do that. It looks so fucking cool.
this was like American Gladiators for kids.
Also, I wanted to tag fucking
Mo,
Moira.
Moira,
Hello, Mike. Put it in my butt, Mike.
yeah.
Give me a Roger.
Mount Rushmore of Nickelodeon game shows, man. Like
Yeah.
Guts, Double Dare, Nick Arcade, Wild and Crazy Kid.
Legends of the Hidden Temple, Steve.
Oh, that's so dusty. I never liked that. I don't like Olmec with his big like
Well,
stone face.
you can suck my dick, Steve.
So you're taking the same three, but you're replacing Wild and Crazy Kids with Legends.
I mean, it's all there. I'm not replacing anything with anything. I'm just saying you got to include it. It's probably the least favorite, but a show where they had people jumping out of walls and terrifying little kids like while they were looking for things, that's hilarious.
And did you know that the giant glowing thing that the first prize winner gets, they don't keep that. They return it.
Yeah, you don't get that. You
I
get it, but you don't get that.
I I thought like I didn't know this.
Well, Steve, it's not like they're chipping fucking aggro Craig off. I mean, they just it's a trophy, my guy. The best.
It's
It's not like you get like everyone gets a Super Bowl trophy, right? But you
yeah.
don't get the one. You don't get like the top notch. You get like that fucking bullshit one because you're a civilian. You
So,
know.
so you do get some merchandise then.
You
Okay.
get the winner gets a visual interpretation of what they hold up on the show, but it does is in no way I don't think it's the same size and like
It
you know.
glows.
I don't think it glows, but I've seen people on YouTube that were on that show it off. Like you get something. I think they give it to you. They're just let you walk away with like an elbow pad or some shit.
Yeah, I mean, okay, that's better to know, man, because I thought they were sending those kids back home with nothing. Like, how
No, hell
dare
no.
you?
I mean, Nick. And plus, I think this was still when you got all those like cool like bonus prizes. Remember when they throw out like Nintendos and shit
Yeah,
for being on the show? I mean, just a dream for a kid in the '90s to be able to go to Nickelodeon Studios and be on one of these shows. Nobody has any idea, dude. It's like American Idol almost.
you had to be there, man. I
I, I would have waited in line for hours if I lived in Orlando to be on any of these shows.
any of them, even
But yet,
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
but you have to live in Orlando basically, and that fucking sucks. So that
But
sucks.
also in 92, The Edge debuts on Fox. One season, 18 episodes, and it featured Julie Brown, young Jennifer Aniston, pre-Friends, Tom Kenny, pre-SpongeBob, Wayne Knight, and Kramer, or not Kramer, but Newman was already established on Seinfeld. So he was kind of appearing on NBC with Seinfeld and this for 18 episodes. Carol Rosenthal, who was on like the last season or two of In Living Color, and Jill Talley. I don't know if you recognize her, but she would eventually be Tom Kenny's wife. But this was a sketch show, and it wasn't funny at all. They tried it, and I just remember the little interludes that they would do. It would be there would be like crude drawings of a man, and his face would like be dysmorphic, and he would like switch his eyeball around in between like skits. It's you'd have to see it to know what I'm talking about, man. And very weird. The premises were just like it was low hanging fruit, man. And I guess it's just people trying to find their way. Because Jennifer Aniston, she wasn't getting anything before Friends, I don't think. And
Well,
also,
also Steve, sorry, we're having a little bit of a delay here, but I did want to bring up something I'm seeing for the show that's tied to 90210. Apparently, Aaron Spelling, the creator of 90210, threatened to sue the show because it would lampoon Beverly Hills 90210 and especially his daughter, Tori Spelling, I guess, pretty
yeah.
severely. And I guess he just did not appreciate that. So Aaron Spelling definitely was pissed off about the show.
Hey, Aaron, where was that smoke for Lauren Michaels? Because they did it too. They had a whole character based on your daughter. Yeah, you didn't want that smoke.
Yeah, dude. Aaron Spelling couldn't handle the fucking gas, Steve.
But yeah, Fox, man, they took gambles still around this time, and they were sketch crazy. They were like fiending for that next Keenan because In Living Color was a big hit. And it was like, man, let's replicate that formula. So this happened. Edge, Robert Townsend, he actually had a sketch show around this time called Townsend Television that debuted, and it wasn't the same, man. And it's funny that Marlon Wayans, I don't know if you've seen his current interview with Shannon Sharp. He mentions this where it's like, man, throughout my career, I've seen people try to replicate what we do. Like you got the recipe, but the seasoning might not be right. You might be missing this. They did it with Scary Movie. After the first two, they kept going. They still own the rights to the title and everything. Is like you tried to like repeat that success, but it just wasn't hitting the same. And this is another example, man. The Edge, Townsend
I
Television.
mean, fuck, shame on you for thinking that you could even try to live up to in living. That's like a tough thing because I get the idea like we did this once. Let's try to capture lightning again in the
Yeah.
bottle. But I did see that a little bit, a couple of clips of that Marlon thing, dude. He'll get on a show sometimes and like really speak some fucking legit facts on some shit, which I respect.
Yeah, it very talented, and like I say, he's my favorite Wayans man. I've seen just about the whole thing because he chops it up, and I've seen like
Yeah.
most of those clips. But yeah, man, The Edge, it was no In Living Color. But also in 1992, Here and Now debuts on NBC. A graduate student, AJ, volunteers at a youth center that helps troubled kids. And this was basically a spinoff, it's supposed to be a spinoff of The Cosby Show. And it was focused on Malcolm Jamal Warner's character, Theo. But He wanted to change it up, and instead of his character being named Theo, he's AJ. But it's basically the same person because Theo, around the time Cosby Show was ending, he was a recent grad and he was working at a youth center. So it's like, why are you trying to differentiate, bro? You're basically Theo with a different name. And he says that the difference between AJ and Theo is that AJ was more hip and street. Like, all right, bro.
It's he's like Vanilla Ice. Like it's not da 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 da. That's
Yeah, it's dun 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 dun. Like, yeah.
hey man, sell it. Sell if
One
you can sell it, sell it. But that don't make a lot of sense.
one season, 15 episodes, two of them unaired. And on that same day, 92, Out All Night debuts on NBC, a sitcom about a singer who runs an LA nightclub, a young graduate, and his irresponsible best friend and roommate who help her, her daughter, and their Scottish neighbor. It's set in the same universe as The Fresh Prince of Bel Air, one season, 20 episodes. It starred Patti LaBelle, Morris Chestnut, again, Vivica A. Fox. September 19th was very nice to Vivica A., Dwayne Martin, and Simon O'Brien.
I mean, damn, the top three on the bill were some pretty heavy hitters. Maybe Vivica, not so much in the '90s. She was just getting out there, but um, I have never heard of Out All Night, Steve.
Yeah, man. Dwayne Martin, he would eventually be the husband of Tisha Campbell. They've since divorced, but Morris Chestnut, he had just starred in Boys in the Hood that previous year, 91. So he was relatively known at this point. Patti LaBelle, she, multi-talented, multifaceted, man. She played the mom, Dwayne Wayne's mom on A Different World. So I guess because of that connection, she had some kind of relationship with NBC. So they figured, let's give her own starring vehicle. She's got the comedic chops, but this show, it wasn't hitting for shit, man. That following year, 1993, WCW was airing Fall Brawl 93 War Games. This is the first Fall Brawl, live from Astro Arena, currently the Reliant Arena where the Texans lose games, in Houston, Texas. This is the debut of the Shockmaster, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, this is the match because he's paired up with Sting and British Bulldog. And, when Sting's like, he's going to shock the world, they fumble that so bad, Matt, that at this point, he's already like re-imaged as a construction worker. He just comes out with a like construction helmet and like some cut off button up.
Is he still called the Shockmaster?
Still called the Shockmaster,
He's
but
an electrician who's means business.
maybe that's what it is. Yeah,
Oh
he's
my
the cable
god.
guy.
Well, I mean, still, dude, to this day, one of the greatest moments in wrestling promo history ever. I do see a little Rick on Rick violence also in this Rick Rude versus Ric Flair, which I love.
Oh, I showed you the clip over the week, man. And like again, Rick Rude, they have like a 30-minute Iron Man match. They were doing this a lot with Rick Rude around this time, man. But he's like, after this match, I'm not only going to have your belt, not only your reputation, but I'm going to leave with your girl. And then he takes off his robe, and it's Ric Flair's escort, Fifi, spray painted on his junk, man. It's like, dude,
She already here, bro.
you know what? Like the older I get, I feel like Rick with the CK is greater than the Rick with the C. He just doesn't.
I didn't appreciate Rick Rude as much as I do now, but he is one of the he's the one of the another great mic worker, looks the part, and he's the total package, and that's he's more of the total package than the total package. Um, but yeah, dude, love me some Rick on Rick violence, and let's get these airbrush tights. Hopefully, they exist someplace in the Rude household.
We have to find those, man. But that following year, 1994, ER debuts on NBC. 15 seasons, 331 episodes. No need to discuss the premise, man. It's one of the most decorated, nominated shows this side of MASH. And, I never seen one episode because I'm not for the procedural dramas.
Yeah. Weirdly, I was into this when it first came out as a little kid. It was just like would come on, and I don't remember when it was on, but I got into watching hospital shows because this came out, and then there was a show on CBS called Chicago Hope that I think my parents watched.
Yeah.
That was like sort of parallel to this, but I mean, dude, this had fucking Clune Dog in it. Eric LaSalle, Soul Glow himself's in this. Yep. Uh, Anthony Edwards is in this. Pet Cemetery 2.
Noah
So
Wiley.
yeah, there's some hitters in this, and I don't know. I don't necessarily like shows like this as much anymore, but this show it caught my attention for a while, and if nothing else, it gave us a Clooney. It gave us Clooney in all of his glory, Steve.
It gave us Clune Dog,
What
and
was
that
his
song.
name in this?
I can't remember.
Blackie.
No, you're talking about John Stamos, who was also
Oh,
on this show.
yeah. Sorry. I was like, there's some
Yeah.
sexy guy with a fucked up name in this.
Yeah, Uncle Jesse. He told like the later years. I forgot. Yeah, he was on there,
Oh,
man.
they
But
had to replace the sex. They had to replace Clooney. So they're like,
yeah,
who's the next up? Who's the next sexiest? And I guess Stamos is right behind him, which I guess I agree with.
can't go wrong. But that following year, Hudson Street debuts on ABC. Police officers fight crime in Hoboken, New Jersey, in the birthplace of Frank Sinatra. It starred Tony Danza, and speaking of Uncle Jesse, Lori Laughlin. Aunt Becky plays his love interest. Danza, he's a divorced detective, and Aunt Becky, she plays an idealistic crime reporter. One season, 22 episodes. And Tony Danza, he went to the school of Bob Newhart because I swear, no matter what role you give him, his name, there's a clause in his contract that says, I gotta be Tony.
I'm Italian, okay? And I don't do good with names other than Tony. So I'm not going to respond unless you call me Tony. So
Taxi, Tony. Who's the boss? Tony. And in Hudson Street, he is Tony Banta. No, Tony Banta was Taxi. Tony
he's
Maselli,
He's Tony Canetti in this, Steve.
Tony Canetti. Yeah.
Angela.
I was hoping you'd say that. Yes.
Angela.
Moaner.
Yeah, dude. Danza. Fucking, hey, dude, get it. Croon your ass off, Tony.
Yeah, he'll knock a motherfucker out. Somebody who probably didn't watch this in 1995 is probably American food scientist and businessman Orville Redenbacher, who founded his own eponymous brand. Man, he kept it popping.
Papa's popcorn, the real deal, Steve. You got
It's a,
Cajun Orville, you old motherfucking shriv.
dude, it's just like Erica Badu. He's an artist, and he was sensitive about his shit. He was very in tune with the hybrids, and he was like testing out different breeds of kernels. Like he was in the lab heavy, Matt. He was like
I mean, look at him.
dedicated.
Look at Orville Redenbacher and tell me what else he would be doing other than trying to figure out how to pop popcorn. Because I don't want to hang out with him. Fucking looks freaky.
Hey,
Looks like
just
he
like
does experiments on animals.
hey, it's just like Sharice and Robbie, man. You hang out with them, you get a lifetime supply.
I mean, you might be right about that, but I'm going to be honest with you, Steve. Hot take: popcorn, take it or leave it. Unless it's cheesy white cheddar popcorn, I'm really not grabbing too much of it. When I go to a movie, last thing I'm ever going to get.
As a theater lover, I find this hard to believe.
Yeah, but
Like,
you worked in a theater, Steve. You saw what we did at the fucking that one place. We just made
yeah,
popcorn and threw it into the garbage bags.
and I still loved it. I ate that too. But then again,
Oh
I'm a fucking
God,
scoundrel, man. But
dude, did you ever take one of those big bags home with you and just munch for months? Like, how long one of those bags do you think you could have munched on? Stoned. You're stoned is.
well, yeah, man. Not the full bag because they would be garbage bags, man.
They were garbage bags. I mean, this was like it had to have been multiple gallon bags of popcorn that we just popped and put in. But I'm just saying, a Papa's popcorn, that's where I'm going. A flavor, a kettle, a white cheddar, even. But just straight Orville Redenbacher, the guy looks problematic. He looks like he said the N word, if I'm being honest. And I mean, he's just out there just popping popcorn. I think he's crazy, Steve.
Well, if that one part that you said, if that was true, fuck you, Orville Redenbacher. But if not, R.I.P. In 1997, L.A. Confidential debuts in theaters. And as corruption grows in 1950s Los Angeles, three policemen, one straight-laced, one brutal, and one sleazy, investigate a series of murders with their own brand of justice. Directed by Curtis Hanson, starring Kevin Spacey, Russell Crowe, Guy Pearce, James Cromwell, Danny DeVito, and Kim Basinger.
This was a huge thing. This was a very popular movie. I think it won awards.
Yeah.
I not a huge fan of this, Steve. Not a huge fan of it. I haven't seen it in a long time, so maybe I should give it another shot. And I didn't know I forgot DeVito's in it, which makes me really be interested in it. But yeah, man, this was kind of like a Russell Crowe movie that I think this kind of gave him a big push,
It
but just not,
predates Gladiator. Yeah.
it's just not one of my favorites.
But I watched it the other day, man, and great performances. I mean, look at the cast, and this is when Kevin Spacey was hitting his stride, man. He had already done Usual Suspects, he'd done Seven, he had already done A Time to Kill, and this comes out in '97, man. Like, and this is before American Beauty, so again, Kevin Spacey crushing it in the mid to late '90s. But I'm a fan of this style. Like, I guess you could. This isn't really neo noir, but when they do the retro '50s look and they do these kind of stories, man, you know,
That's where I fall off. I just that's my taste differs from yours. When
yeah,
it's like this Chinatown vibe,
yeah,
I tune out. I find it boring.
uh
Except Untouchables. I feel like Untouchables is kind of in this like area. It's not as
yeah.
noirish, but it's in that same time frame, and I do like that one. So maybe it's not complete, but yeah, I just for whatever reason I never got into this one. Maybe I'm going to give it another shot.
And plus, Untouchables has more of a gangster
Yeah.
tone to it. But also in '97, Wishmaster debuts. A demonic jinn attempts to grant his owner three wishes, which will allow him to summon his brethren to Earth. Directed by Robert Kurtzman, starring Tammy Loren, Andrew Divoff, Kane Hodder, Tony Todd, and Robert Englund. That's Candyman and Freddy.
Well, Kane Hodder, isn't he also one of like the Jason or somebody? I think he played one of the biggies.
Yeah, the cast actually has a couple of monsters from the like iconic horror films throughout this, man. I mean, it's produced by the king. You could say Wes Craven is the king of horror.
Oh, and
Um,
Kane Hodder is Jason from Friday the 13th. He's the guy behind the mask.
okay.
So that's crazy. I didn't know that. This movie, though, not my favorite Wes Craven movie.
No,
It's just not, but it's pretty good. I mean, Wes Craven doesn't miss a lot. He makes some movies that are kind of like less quality, but this is still a good movie. And like you said, it's like an all star team of horror movie stars.
like I don't know if you're familiar with Phantasm. Reggie Bannister is in the movie, and he was in Phantasm, as well as Ted Raimi, who was in Darkman and Army of Darkness. So I, Wes Craven can't hit them all. This is the guy who brought us Freddy. He brought us Scream. He brought us a lot of great things, man. You know,
Yeah, dude, it is crazy to look down the cast list, and it's like literally superstars from other West or like horror franchises. Just the whole cast list is that. That's crazy as hell.
like I would recommend this though to any horror fan because the concept it's unique and they kind of give you the history as to how the jinn got caught into this jewel and the the main star I think is Tammy Lauren. She's getting mind fucked by this wishmaster throughout the whole deal, and the overlying arc I feel is be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, it's like I mean, this movie's they've tried. Maybe this movie's so good they've just redone it a bunch of times, but like
It did.
this sort of opposite take of getting wishes where you wish something great but then like you don't think of all like the issues that with that and it like turns evil in some way. So very goosebumps-ish. I feel like there was some goosebumps book like this, but I'm gonna this is Wes Craven's a G, dude. This guy doesn't miss a lot.
From Cleveland, go Ohio. I got to throw that out there. Got
I
to.
love that.
Yes. And R.I.P. to Wes Craven, man. He's a G. But any callbacks, honorable mentions, or cankersaurs?
um Steve, I just want to give a big shout out to you for the editing, honestly. I don't have a lot to 90s related, but I've been watching these shows and you took over editing. And I got to say, for everybody out there that wants to know how the sausage is made, Steve, if you watch the last few bunch of episodes of this show, you might notice a different editing style. And I'm loving it, dude. I don't know how much editing you were doing before that, but you're killing it. I love it.
He
Watch.
gonna make me cry on a Sunday morning, man.
Watch it, man. You good, Steve. You deserve love, man. It's
Sensitive.
okay if you like popcorn.
Yeah.
What about you, dude?
Well, RIPs are in order, man. I mean, the big one over the week was James Earl Jones, the voice of Darth Vader, coming to America, the voice of Mufasa. I mean, prolific in
Sandlot. Everything.
Sandlot,
Keep going. Field of
yeah,
Dreams.
Field of Dreams, Bingos,
Star
baseball all stars.
Yeah. Star Wars forever. I mean, this dude he was like the voice of God for us. I feel like this is what
Yeah.
I believe God, if he's up there or she's up there or whatever, it's gonna sound like James Earl Jones, dude.
Larger than life figure, man. Prolific in everything he touched, from film, television, the voice acting, just voice acting alone, he killed it. And then stage. Did I say stage?
I mean, and he was in I think he was in Conan with fucking Schwarzenegger too, Steve. Like he was doing shit like that. I'm pretty
93.
sure he was. I think he was in Conan or one of those fucking movies that Schwarzenegger did back in the day. But yeah, he was always just the wise old man and stuff. I watch Sandlot a lot, so I feel like him. He's Darth Vader, but he's that guy at the end of Sandlot that just like that's what I picture him as. He was also in a great episode of Frasier that I love. He plays a blind
Wow.
guy that Frasier meets in I think it's just like a hospital. His dad's visiting somebody, but he talks to James Earl Jones, and James Earl Jones has he's blind, and he
Yeah.
has like this clay mask of his wife's face that she made when they were young, and he's like, I touch it every night just to be close to her, and because she's dead. And Frasier breaks the nose off of it, and like the whole time he's talking to him, he's trying to fix it while James Earl Jones is talking to him because he's blind. So yeah, dude, I don't know why I had to go into that. I just remembered that. But James Earl Jones, dude, rest in peace, man. That's fucking
RIP, man.
crazy. That sucks.
93 years. And also RIP to Pete Renaday. I hope I pronounced it right, man. But I know him mostly from being the voice of Splinter, Master Splinter of the Turtles. And, you know, he's had a prolific career besides that, man. He's done voice acting for a lot of other things. And he was actually an actor, too.
Pete Renaday, I didn't know that. I didn't know he was the voice of Master Splinter, but shout out. Another dad to all of us 90s kids gone.
The Adventure of Pinocchio. He was Hunchback of Notre Dame. He was Frodo's soldiers, Ants, Prince of Egypt, Mulan, Shrek, Madagascar, uh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Aladdin, Gargoyles, Iron Man,
This
Sylvester and
motherfucker's
Tweety.
like Phil Lamar, dude. He's just in everything ever.
Yeah, so RIP to him, as well as Frankie Beverly from the legendary band Frankie Beverly and Maze. Before I let you go, I never have a like Frankie Beverly. He's like one of those uh, black gathering artists where like family reunion, anytime the family get together happens, man, play on some Frankie Beverly Amaze, some kind of Motown, some Prince. Like he's like Uncle Frankie, man. So RIP to all of those legends. And please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Please tell your sister, happy birthday, Lisa, but I still fucking hate you. I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, check out Food Show Fanatics, Crushgasm, and our guy Clark the Shark on podcast. So this is Steve G and Matt G with
Happened in the 90s.
Matt was the fat kid, Steve was the black kid. Life wasn't always great, but you know what was? The 90s. Happened in the 90s. Yeah!